Hello again. Another session on Cisco ICF version 2.21a. In this session, we're going to show how to deploy the cloud link first with Amazon and then Azure. If you watched my previous sessions, you probably have seen that we have done already step 1, 2, and 3. On step 1, we deployed a VM, which is a ICF host VM. On top of that, there is ICFD director, and then the PNSC, and then also after that we install the ICF infrastructure. At that stage, it's kind of do the registration of PNSC to VC and adding the VC to PNSC, those kind of stuff, and also deploy the CVSM, which is pretty much an XS1000V, which does all the networking for ICF. And later we kind of uploaded the service bundle to PNSC. Those are the bundle means your firewall service and a CSR service, routing service. So the OVA templates are uploaded to the PNSC. In this stage, we're going to deploy the cloud first with Amazon and then Azure. So what it does, pretty much it builds a tunnel between your private cloud, in this case is a VMware, vCenter, and to the cloud, which is Amazon. And then also the next would be Azure. So those who have seen this diagram before, just try to bring them in sync. Your enterprise data center on the left side and Amazon on the right side. You have got a vCenter on top of the VC. So you deploy this VM host, and it deploys ICFD and PNSC, and then during the installation of the infrastructure, it deploys CVSM, which is Nexus 1000V. And now we'll kind of deploy the ICX through the cloud link to Amazon inter-cloud extender, and the IP address we will receive from the pool, and .51.52.56, those you are seeing is the IP addresses for the infrastructure. And it brings up tunnel. In this case, it will be Ssl Tunnel. You have the options for SSL or EDB tunnel. SSL is probably easier and safer. It's encrypted, and just you have to open port 443. On the other side, on the Amazon cloud, is going to deploy a ICS inter-cloud switch, which is a VM. I kind of described what's the requirement of that VM in the previous session. And later, not this session, we'll deploy these VMs on the cloud, and also we'll deploy the VSG, which is the firewall, and VCSR for Amazon. We need to assign the IP address statically, so those are the IP address we'll assign them. And if you remember the port group, we are going to use this ICF management for all the yellow boxes. Those are the ICF pieces of VM, and the IP address is 172.170.x. For ICFD is .51, PNSC 52, CVSM 56, and we'll see that what it gets from the pool. So for the pool, we have we'll configure .57 to 61, and yeah. So I've already created that pool for you. So during the setup, we'll see that how we kind of use that. Yep, that's it. So we'll jump into the configuration now. So this is ICFD director, and we go to the ICF cloud and click setup. As soon as I click the setup, the wizard starts, and you can do everything from the wizard. But I just wanted to show you that if you go to the policies, and I made a network static pool. So if you go in the static pool policy, I made one for the ICF management pool, which kind of I explained that ICS and ICX will get that IP addresses from this pool, 57 to 61, and as VLAN 17. And the other one is VSG pool. A VSG pool, if you deploy VSG, and it kind of communicates for the data from the VSG to the VMs and ICS through a different VLAN, and that's non-routable, just a kind of private VLAN. So any VLAN will work. We just named this 255, and that's not routable, so there's no gateway there. So that's what we have already done. And also we created a Ssl tunnel for, we didn't create the tunnel, but we kind of configured for port 443 to be used for the tunnel between ICS and ICX. So this comes by default UDP, and you have to open multiple ports for that. For SSL, that's 443, and you just select TCP and use HTTPS. Otherwise, it comes with UDP by default, and those are the algorithms keep alive, and also timeout. So once we have done that, then we go back to the ICF cloud, setup, so we're not going to change anything, so we just put the same name here. So now you need the access ID and access key from Amazon. So this is Amazon portal. So if you go into the dashboard, probably you'll end up here once you log in. And to create those access ID and access key, you can go into the security credentials, and then I created a user called S.A. Jalal, and I added certain policies. These are the policies you need to attach, otherwise it'll have a kind of authentication problem, because by default the users don't have any access, so you need to allow them. That's kind of opposite to Azure. In Azure, by default, we have everything, so you don't need to do anything. But in this case, you have to go into the attach policy, and then few things like EC2 full access, it's already there, but that's why it's not showing up. So I kind of these policies: EC2 full access, S3 full access, and marketplace if you are deploying CSR. VPC, if you're using Amazon VPC, then you need that. Otherwise, you don't worry about that. So minimum you need EC2, and if you're deploying Windows box, you need S3 full access, and for CSR this one. So once you have that, then you can create the access key, create access key. You can have only 2 access key at the same time. So let's delete one and recreate one. Okay, you can see this is the access key. You can see that on the website if you log in later, so it's better to download that and keep it in a Excel file here for future reference. But for our case, we can use this one. So we need this first access key. Access ID, sorry, and next is access key. Alright, once we kind of insert that and validate credential, it's going to check it's in a login and everything and come back with the locations. In my case, my lab is in San Jose, so it's in west coast of United States. So I'll choose one of the locations on the west. In your case, whatever your location is, you probably choose from that list. So I just choose US West too. And you need to select advanced to change the tunnel from default to the SSL, and we'll try to do multiple pools. So we just make a MAC pool here. Okay, we'll just keep the whatever sample is there. Okay, If you want to restrict by IP group, you could do that. And also we're going to do firewall, VSG, and CSR. And last for that's your CSR management VLAN. Next, you're going to choose the this is the vCenter data center. Now here it is saying that a trunk port group from the vCenter you already created. So that port group, make sure the promiscuous mode is enabled, not record if Nexus 1000V. So if you're using a vSwitch or DVS, so if you're having multiple NIC cards, if you don't do that, then you'll get multiple packets, and that can cause a problem on the CVSM. So that's already done for me. And the management is VLAN 17. And 17. Management IP pool is that one I created before. Host, I've got only one host here, so you can choose the cluster. You might be asking that why host. Yeah, that's probably a feature will come coming release. So that's the VLAN I was talking about for VSG data, 255, and the pool I created before. VSG management is same, 17. Okay. Advanced, if you want to deploy VSG in cluster, so in that case you choose advanced and provide all the information for cluster VSG. Okay, so this is all the information we have provided to create the link. Once you submit, there will be a service request created, and it's going to check all this information if it is valid for ICS. The link. If it is not valid, it's going to fail right then, and if it is valid, then proceed and deploy the ICX-ICS and the tunnel. Submit. So once it is done, then you can go into the service request. Those who have used ECS Director, it must be very familiar for you. So you go into this SR number, the one running right now, and you can see this is the overall status, and then the log, you can go the details at what's happening right now. Now it's kind of checking all the information I provided, and then it will create the extension. Let it go. In the meantime, we can talk about Azure. So same thing, ICF Cloud. We'll click the setup, and you will probably create another pool for Azure. For the pool, you'll need 3 ICX-ICS. Okay, this slide kind of explains what are the IP address you need. For Azure, you need ICX-ICS in the pool, that's 2, and VSG, again static 1, and then ICF router, that's IG, integrated gateway they call it, so that's need 1. Okay, now let's go back to the diagram that shows the setup. Enterprise data center, your vCenter, ESX host, these are all same for both ICFD, PNSC, CVSM, and ICX pool, ICS. Now here it's kind of different. IG is Integrated Gateway is a part of Azure. You can manage it from the PNSC for this version. So the pool IP it's getting is from ICX-ICS and Integrated Gateway. So 3 of them we need. So we have kind of assigned 6.2, 6.4, and then okay, and also probably the VSG IP address has to change. So we'll give something like 66, right? Or maybe 70 here. Okay, so there's no VCSR here. So let's go back to the ICF-D and start the setup. And before doing again, same thing as last time. You could use the same pool, but I prefer to have a different pool just to separate them. I'm not sure you have to do anytime both cloud at the same time, but yeah, if you have to do, probably just for troubleshooting. Or you could, another thing you can do is you can clone that, which is a unique feature here. Maybe just Azure. And then you edit that to something 62, 64. You could use the same pool for that because they are completely different cloud and they don't talk to each other ever, and they don't see each other, so that's fine. Click the setup button for this is the reason I'm giving my name because on the lab there are other people using this one, so this name would be there so people knows that who's using it. Sure one. Okay, here you have to select Azure, create new. Okay, now for Azure there is one thing you need to do is getting that you have to register that PNSC to your Azure cloud. How do you do that? So if you go into the Azure and if you log in, there's the management portal. Okay, I think it's kind of logged off. Let me just go back, log back in and come. Okay, here it is. So you have logged into the Azure portal. Go into the settings at the bottom and then manage certificates, management certificate. Here we're going to upload the certificate from PNSC. I have already done that, but just for demonstration, let's do it one more time. Let's close it out. That's infrastructure. Export Azure certificate. Okay, and it's downloaded. Shared folder downloads. Okay. So let's go to Azure and then upload this. Browse. Okay, it's saying this is already uploaded, so it's not going to allow that, so that's fine. So the one I have done, all the actually subscription IDs are same. So I copy this subscription ID. So if you are doing for the first time, then this will not happen and you'll be okay and it should be good. But you have to do that before you can bring up the link. So let's go back here, ICF Cloud. Okay, set up Azure, and I put this ID before I forget. Okay, and same thing. Once you click on View Credentials, it's going to check the parameters, log into the Azure portal, and bring you the locations. I would select something on the west. Okay, so that should be West US. Nope. West US. Advanced, and we'll use the same MAC pool. Tunnel profile, SSL, router, and IG. See, it doesn't say CSI, it says integrated. And exactly the same process that we did last time with Amazon. Same port group. Okay, so just check all the parameters are correct, whatever information you provided, and then click submit. So this is how you kind of deploy a cloud. I'll come back. I'll put a pause right now because it's going to take some time, and then I might bring you back during the time of deploying ICS into the cloud. So how does it look like, and so you can troubleshoot if you need to be. But I'll give a pause right now and come back a bit later. So I'm just looking at the logs right now, and you can see that is trying to push the ICS template into the cloud. And so before that, he had already done the ICX, and that will be in our vCenter. So now if I go back to our vCenter right now, I kind of search for SHLL, my name, and you can see that Amazon SHLL-2, that VM is still right now on the vCenter. So that's already done in the vCenter. And I can see the IP address is .57. So we can put this IP address, and this is Amazon one, so this is 57. And yeah, it helps to kind of during the testing phase that what IP address who has received. So that's on the private side. And if you go to the public side, you see there is something called TMP. So it's doing its job right now. Once it is done, then you'll see all the information here. So it already get the IP address. The public one is 52.11.39.109. That's Amazon IP. So things are going okay so far. One side is done. We're waiting for the cloud side to be completed, and then it'll give you a status that everything completed. This is on the Azure side. So it has doing the initial check on the information we provided, and it looks good, and it's creating the extension right now. So if you go into the logs, refresh, it is trying to deploy the OVA, the ICX OVA in progress, and the next is all be the switch, ICS switch. So if you go back to onto the vCenter, and we see that that's kind of deploying OVA template, and this job is done by PNSC. So Azure Ssl ICX, this one, and once this is done, you can see there are only 5 VMs right now, but once that task is complete, it'll do kind of deploy the ICS on the Azure side. Okay, let's see the status of the Azure one right now. And if you go to the log, then you can see that this is done, and it's going to the ICS part. So if you go into the vCenter, we can see this this is already deployed, Azure-SSL-1-ICX, and if we go on to the Azure side, then there's 5 virtual machines. Now we've got a new one, which is the Azure SSL1, that ICS one. So both are kind of on process, still not completed. Once it is done, we'll see the message on the ICFD. And this is also on the process of doing Amazon one. So if we, I just want to show one more thing, is this is the CVSM. So I've just logged in, and if you, those who are Nexus 1000V or Nexus background or networking background, show mod. You can see here this is the Amazon ICX, and is .57, and it got .62. So we can update this one as .62. That's for Azure. And once the tunnel is built, ICS on both of them are built, then you'll see them here also. So this is the status right now. So once it is kind of make more progress, I'll get back. Okay, back again. So as the modules come online, like the tunnel builds and the ICS is deployed, so you can see that on the CVSM it shows the detected modules 5, which is Azure one, and module 6, which is the Amazon one. So, and if I run show mod, and it can see all the modules right now. So one soup, VSM, and 4 VEM here. Those who are used to Nexus 1000V terminology. So, and the IP address for the Azure ICS is 63, and Amazon is 58. Let's put this one. This is 63 for Azure. And this is 58. And if I go back to the ICFD, the task is still running. This is the ICS ICX Azure one. That's powered on. We'll log into that a bit later. Still it is in progress. It's making it. Okay, that's complete. Azure one is complete, and Amazon is still going. Okay, let's give it some time for the Azure to complete, and then we'll come back again. Okay, though the Amazon is still showing in progress, but if you go back to the CVSM, we can see all these modules up, and then we can SSH into the ICX. So this is the ICX for Amazon. So you just normal SSH into that, and you can see the tunnel is up already. So you can run a few commands. If you can just, if you don't know the command, just as like Cisco iOS or Cisco NXOS. In this case, I just run enter cloud and then tunnel brief. So it shows the side to side is up. So if you have any kind of issue, you can probably come here and check if the tunnel is up or not. Similarly, the same commands on the other one, which is the Azure one. So exactly the same thing. And you can probably see what are the commands available for you. Yeah. Now, if I go back to Amazon EC2 right now, you can see the name right now is Amazon SHLL-2, then IC link and ICS. I click and then ICS. So this is, initially it was TMP, and then it's changed this one to that. So it's almost done, but it's taking a bit longer than the Azure one. And you can see how much time it took from the beginning to the end here. So it started at 14:12 and 14:45, and the other one is still going. So yeah, we'll come back again once it is complete. Okay, back again. Yes, that's completed, both Amazon and Azure. Status complete, and the log will say exactly what happened, which stage. I think that it took more time because it has to, kind of upload the VSG and also your CSR. So okay, now if I go into the ICF cloud, and that's the place actually we need to check every time we want to see the tunnel is up, or if you want to take it down for some reason. So here it is. So you can see this Amazon tunnel. The tunnel status is operational. That's very important. If it is not operational, then it's not going to work. You can talk to the other side. ICX IP address, that's the primary ICS, and also VSG CSR is deployed. And same as Azure, IP addresses and VSG and IG is there. And if I go back to this is the ICX, and that is CVSM, show mod. And you can run any commands like in a switch, and you can say show interface brief, and there are a few virtual interfaces up. Also, it will use the port profiles. If you're not an Access 1000 guy, don't worry about this. This is just those who are familiar with that. So it is done. So here we end this session, and next session we're going to deploy VM. So that's what we're going to do for the next session. Thank you.